Welcome, FM enthusiasts. This is Free Music Empire. Attention, Undivided. I am your host, Dano, bringing Bob Belcher energy all post Father's Day. I got a Bob's Burgers t-shirt for Father's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Feeling good. And I'm lucky to have one of the titans of 2021 music. For me personally, I don't know numbers. I don't know what's going on there, but someone who drastically shifted the year in music for me. So we're talking today to Lukah.
Peace.
We're throwing it here. There's it's been a journey. Your album drop, When the Black Hand Touches You, is something I'm going to remember because it was one of those "who is this guy" moments where we all scrambled to know more, instantly. Did you feel that, or were you insulated from the other end of it?
I mean, I didn't feel that. I was kind of ready to move on. That's kind of because you got to think about it. I recorded that album months before it dropped. It was during COVID.
Yep.
And we kept pushing it back till we finally was like, yo, man, fuck it, bro. We're gonna drop it in January. We're gonna drop it at the beginning of the year. So by that time, I was already over it. I was like 80% done with the new album.
Oh shit.
So yeah. I mean, but to answer your, that's probably because I move on quick. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I have so much art that I want to put out to the world and so much to say that I just move. So, I mean, I got direct messages, you know what I mean, in the DM telling me I just stumbled upon your music. I really appreciate your music. This has gotten me through this. This has gotten me through that. And I was very, very appreciative of all of that. I love that, but it didn't hit me until you just said it, honestly.
I mean, it was like one of those TV shows where the control room scrambles to figure out what to do now. It was definitely that vibe because it was so potent, and it was, for me, there were waves of recognition, right? First thing I see on this, being a student of this shit, is that Cities Aviv produced on it. And I'm like, what's up with that? And then I'm like, this dude produced right next to Cities. And I'm like, not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do that, and I was like, that's interesting. So, and his beats didn't sound like from a different planet from your beats, which was impressive by itself, right?
Yeah.
The synergy there. And I was like, wow, that's special. That's something I need to figure out. And then you press play on the voice and it's like Scarface is back,
Appreciate that. That's a great compliment, man. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah. I mean,
as far as me and Cities, man, a lot of people like to ask how that works, because we're kind of from two different worlds, two different backgrounds, but we share the same love for the music, and you know what I mean. We have some of the same ideas. We just go at them differently, but when we come together, it's like Batman and Superman almost. They have this crazy relationship, this love-hate relationship, even though we don't have a hate part in our relationship. You get what I mean? It's that kind of relationship is that strong. And when we come together, like the Wu used to say, we form Voltron with just two people. Right. So shout out to that brother, man. It's a close dear friend of mine.
Yeah, no, we did it. I did I did a whole thing called the Artist of the Unbound Function, basically, that they're an unbound function is basically the variables on each side can be anything, right? And that's kind of, and I used the crashing sounds of How It Goes, which is the new Cities Aviv album, as an example. And I said, Cities is a guy who doesn't care at all about consistency. He doesn't care at all about how you feel about this one compared to the last one. Doesn't even enter his mind.
That's facts. I'm glad you get that about him, because that is him. That's him to the T. He don't give a.
As somebody who's been following the journey, you never know what you'll get from City. Yeah. But that's what you love. You go along with that journey, and it's exciting because you're going to hit anyone on the map.
Yeah, thanks.
He builds these dense worlds. And there's something about your flow. And I mean, I'm generally an agreeable dude. You did an interview with Rohan, who's a friend of mine. I love Rohan. And I said, you know what? That's a great interview. I'm just going to let it sit. Like, I don't even need to talk to this dude. I just love this interview. So I put Black Hand on my album of the year running Google Doc, and it just kept going up. Just kept going up.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
And I was like, there's just something about you that cannot be misunderstood.
Thank you, man.
When you press play on the track, there's wordplay, there's imagery, there's stuff getting flipped, but your delivery is so unmistakable. I have sent your shit to like the nerdiest nerd rap guys, the grungiest like guys. They all respond the same way. There's something unmistakable about it. And that kind of unmistakable thing mixed with City's dense world building is just kind of a perfect back and forth, it seems like.
Yeah. Again, opposites attract. You know what I mean? Yep. I can't explain it, man. We just gel together perfectly. We've been doing this for like 12 plus years or 11 plus years.
Yep.
So we've been at this 11 plus years, and we just know that the art is so important that we don't give a fuck how long it takes. We don't care. We don't follow any of the rules. That's a secret of ours. We don't follow the rules. We're gonna do whatever we want to do. I don't do hooks purposely. You know what I mean? He'll do a hook every now and then, but I wouldn't even call it a hook. But we just don't follow any of the rules. I feel like when you do that, you start to keep yourself in a box. Like, I like to bar out, man, because there's a lot of parts to me. So I don't want to just talk about one thing in one song. I can do that. I've done it for years, but take Pac, for instance. Pac would fucking be talking about saving the world, healing his brother, then turn around and start banging on the same song.
Right.
And I felt like that's a perfect example of a real person with multiple feelings. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's a real human. Not saying these other rappers and other MCs are real humans. I'm just saying, like, I like when you don't have to stick to a formula. The formula is to not have a formula almost. Right. And then when you're good at your art, I feel like the formula is just gonna make itself. You know what I mean? Like, when the art is that, when you love what you're doing and you're putting 100% in, you don't have to overthink it, because there's people out there like you that's gonna listen to it and get it.
Right.
You know? So that's the formula there. Like, is to not have a formula. The formula will create itself in the art.
And it sounds weird to describe it, right? Like, I remember, I mean, short story writer, you know, that was kind of my thing, right? Mm-hmm. I've published my own books and whatever, but like, people would be like, what is your process? How do you do it? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Once you create the characters, you kind of let the characters make decisions in the world you build.
Exactly. Now, mind you, when the Black Hand touches you, yes, there was a theme.
Right.
Which was, like I told Rowan, I was like, it was a blueprint for my son. But how I wanted to deliver the blueprint to him, I had no idea. I just let well, I can't say pen anymore, my thumbs, because I'm on the phone right now.
Right.
I just let my thumbs tap away, man. You know, so like it's something you can't explain. It's just you almost know what you want to say, but can't put it into words, but in rap form. I don't know if that makes sense.
Right.
I don't know if you got
there.
that.
The adversity's already there. It's already in the picture. The characters are in the picture. Then you let it kind of develop.
Just let it go.
And it's you doing it, but it's not you thinking about it. It's you just following.
Exactly.
You just don't want to betray what you've done. You know
that, and I'm staying true to how I feel in myself, and that's the most important thing with this art. That's why when I met Cities Aviv, that's what made me gravitate towards him, because I was like, man, this man he don't give a fuck. He is himself. You know, like I know him personally. Woo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like not just the music. I'm like, he is himself. And I was just like, because, you know, I come up in the area where, you have to be yourself, but you have to add on to it to survive, you know?
Yep.
And then it eventually becomes yourself.
Right.
Because it's a behavior that you were taught, and it just keeps growing with you. So it becomes you. But like when I used to see Gavin, it was almost like, did he have to add on to who he was to survive? I used to ask those type of questions. You know, like me and him had I'm sorry. We dived into a lot of deep conversations because I just used to be like, man, you don't give a fuck, do you?
100%. There's like one dude in every clique who kind of doesn't give a fuck and can't lie.
Yeah.
And just walks into a room and just devastates it, you know? I remember I was in the Army. One of my friends was one of my female friends, very close to her, and she was great. But her boyfriend was cheating on her in the barracks right across the street. And my boy was doing the guard duty at the front desk. And so she goes up and asks him, where is he? And he just looks right at her, doesn't even hesitate. He's like, I saw her go to the B company with the blonde there. She stomps out. I'm looking at him like, what are you doing, man? He's like, shooting from the hip, baby. I don't, he just does it. And people are like that. They're just fearless. They don't care. Like that dude. My last Cities point. Now, this is interesting. 11 years, you said. My next reaction once I had finished the whole album was the article I want to write. I have a thing called Album Ancestors, where it's basically this album wouldn't have existed without this album. And I was like, Black Hand doesn't exist without Digital Lows. That was going to be my angle. And now, this isn't based on you and your development and you needing it. I have a theory that the audience needs to be taught how to listen to someone.
Okay.
And Cities taught the world how to unlearn what they thought they knew about Memphis.
100%. No, I got you. You circle back around. I feel that. He knows that too. All the Memphis heads know that. That's facts. That's 100%.
Digital Lows had like a Modest Mouse cover on it at the end. Like it had these beautiful soul samples. It was not 3-6 Mafia. It was not what people thought of when they thought of Memphis.
I was there, bro. I was there. I made Doom with the Gloom. I produced that beat.
Damn.
Yeah, so I was there. It was monumental.
Yeah.
You know.
So that was that's what I was like, shit, man. I don't know if the heads would know how to listen to this without what Cities has done. So that was, and it was funny to then hear that you guys were really close. And I was like, oh shit, that's cool. Like this is all coming together.
No, that's facts, man. I never, Digital Lows, and Gavin would be that Gavin is Cities Aviv, by the way. Gavin would be modest right now, if you were to say that to him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I feel like he knows, because he hates Digital Lows. He loves it, but he hates it because he's like, I'm over that. That's back there. I'm here. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, no, that's a fire fact, man. For real. For real.
I could put "Meet Me on Montrose" on in the car, and everybody starts singing along with the sample. It's undeniable.
Yeah.
Just
facts.
Yeah. So I think it's an important album. So to go big picture on Memphis, how would you describe what Memphis?
Shout out to Digital Lows, man. My bad, man. Shout out to Digital Lows. You just made me think about some crazy shit right now, man.
That album, it holds the fuck up, man. That is so cool to listen. And that was the first thing when Ro hit me and was like, man, Cities Aviv, I need to learn more about this. I'm like, go back to Digital Lows, man.
Yeah.
And we did that. So, but yeah, how would you describe what Memphis brought to rap? The personality, all these different regions have different personalities, I feel like.
I feel like we're super dark. Memphis, like I told the homie in the last interview, I was just like, we're named after the city of the dead in Egypt. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like that shit is true in Memphis. No doubt, Memphis is very historic. A lot of history here. Beautiful history. I feel like we brought to the game that even though something is so beautiful, it's dark as hell. You know what I mean? Like when people think of Memphis, they think of Martin Luther King. They think of the sanitation strike. They think of Elvis. They think of all of these things, the pyramid. They think of all of this. But when you go to get to those places, you got to go through some. You know what I mean? Like you got to go through my neighborhood to get downtown. I mean, you can take the expressway, but you know, it's not that far. So it's just like I said a line in the song coming up. Well, I actually just put that song. I was like, what did I say? I said, we watch them grow, and then the world turns them into a dying rose.
Woo.
And I feel like it's that's Memphis. Like it's so beautiful, man. But it when you let it go, it dies. So you have to dig up that dirt and find that beauty. And I think everybody in Memphis, from Pooh Shiesty to all the way to Gangsta Black, The Fly, Gangsta Pat, 3 6 Mafia, Zerk, all of those cats, Key Glock, Dolph Gotti, everybody, bro, they display that in their music, and you can hear it. You can hear that passion. You can hear that a person really want to be fucking happy here, but it's kind of impossible because of certain circumstances. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel like I wanted to take all of that from those older cats and bring it to them differently, coming from me. But it's the same though. It's just a little bit more aggressive. And you know what I mean? So I feel like we brought that, man. I feel like we brought that type of energy, that strength, that strong, that hunger, that darkness and beauty. And yeah, and people are Memphis is getting its just due now, but they're gonna learn quicker soon.
Yeah. So no, I was stationed in Fort Hood for a while when I was in the Army. My best friend in the world was from Atlanta. He was from Southeast Atlanta. And so he was like giving me the different directions. And I remember like there was a time I woke up every day to Space Age Pimpin', off Lay It Down. And just like, damn, you know, hearing 8-Ball and MJG for the first time was shocking.
Thanks.
It was so different than the kind of bright world Atlanta could give you, or the bounce from New Orleans. It was just so different, even from Screw and that world. As dark as that world was, there was kind of a slow groove to it. But it was definitely, it was a faster robbery happening from Memphis.
Thanks.
But no, it's incredible how it's developed, and as dark as it is, as dark as all the content, right? From pop music like Moneybagg Yo, that shit is still dark and
thanks
and intense. Like I don't think Memphis has any like popular shiny suit happy people, right? I mean, is that, do we have anybody like, do you have anybody like that? I can't think of anyone.
Nope.
I keep tabs.
Hold on. Give me 1 second. Give me like 1 minute to think on that one.
It's pretty.
Hell no.
No.
Nah.
There's nobody to look at to be like, he's having so much fun over there. Like, there's nobody.
Nah.
No. But
that's fucked up, man.
But it's kind of like Philly and Detroit, right? Philly and Detroit, really hard stuff, but also there's this deep, beautiful musical history that the hardest cats will have the most intense musical knowledge, right? So Memphis is like the hub for country, for, you know, blues, like everything. Everything. So like you have, you know, Dusty Springfield came to Memphis and recorded like 100 songs to make an album because she was really worried she wouldn't be good enough for Memphis.
I mean, the Queen of Soul said it high for anybody to come out of Memphis. Aretha. So I feel that. I feel what you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's still like, there's a deep musicality to everything that comes out of Memphis in the stuff that breaks, which I appreciate. And I think it's because of that history.
Yeah, I agree.
That's cool. So anyone else coming from Memphis that people should know? People love you now. There's like new diehard fans that are now like, they purchased Chicken Wire, they purchased Black Hand. They want to know who else.
Sonny Cats. If you heard Chicken Wire, he was on Bridge. He had that solo song on Bridge, and he produced Had a Choice for me and Cities Aviv on Chicken Wire. There's a cat coming up, Blue Levies. He's originally from New Orleans, but he's from Memphis. Well, he moved during the hurricane, so he's a Memphian by way of New Orleans. St. Courts, he's on my new project. He's from North Memphis. Real, kind of remind you of a DMX mix with a Pastor Troy. He's got that type of, he that type of cat. You got the old heads like IMC. We call those are the Memphis rap legends for us. Iron Mike Coalition, that's Jason the Hater, Milk, the Derelict, MacArthur, Mighty Quinn, MP, Fathom Not, cats like that. Duke. It's a whole underground scene, man. You just gotta tap in. I can see you a whole bunch of people.
I'll take it. I've become very convinced that like not only do regions matter, but regions are critical. Because that's where we get the different kinds of music, is because of the different flavors of these different places and just how people move and operate. You know? I got people like messaging me being like, I love Memphis rap because the beats are nuts and everybody's saying horrible shit in really flat tones of voice.
Yeah,
like,
man.
You can't get that shit anywhere else. It's just
we created that.
Right.
It's you can only find it in Memphis. A lot of people tried to duplicate it, but it didn't come out right, I judge. But that your friend described it. We will say the most horrible shit possible on the hardest beats, and you are going to love it.
Yep.
They present it in a way where you can't do nothing but love it. It's like, why the fuck am I listening to this guy saying creep about the cut with my 9? You know, like.
Well, or like, and that's the reason you hear shit, you hear devious shit that you've never heard before in your life. You're just like, did he just say he kidnapped him and now he's cooking him grilled cheese? What?
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone floss like that. That doesn't even.
Yeah.
Doesn't even follow.
And we have a different pain too, like how we describe the pain.
Yep.
I don't think, and this is no disrespect to other cities, but rap cities, I just don't think. Well, I take that back. Houston does it very well.
Yes.
Pain too.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like how we deliver the pain in the lyrics, man, I feel like it's unmatched. And I feel like it's because we've actually endured a lot of pain and seen it and continue to see it. We look out our windows and continue to see it. Not saying it's not like that from every, and not saying it's like not like that everywhere else. I'm just saying to add to what you were saying, as far as like we say the craziest shit in a low tone manner on the hardest beats. You bring pain in with that same tone, still saying the craziest type of shit. You won't get that nowhere else, but here, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's
yeah.
There's like, and I just got the feeling that like, because when I was talking to my buddy in Atlanta in the Army, and I try and pitch him some East Coast stuff, and he would explain. He's like, "Look, East Coast don't care about Southern rap, so we don't really care about East Coast rap." He's like, "We self-sustain. We create our own shit, and we like our own shit, and that's why Georgia had its sound, and Louisiana had its sound, and everything was kind of self-sufficient, and that's why." The Memphis sound is so thoroughly unique, is because it was so thoroughly ignored for so long in the public space, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's true, and it partly is a lot of that is because of us and how we operate towards one another. Right. For some reason, I don't know what it is, man. We will not just let shit go and work together. You know, I said a line on a new album. I'm from a side where we hold on to a grudge.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's no letting it go, and that stops a lot of the money and a lot of the uniting as well, because we can't get together. It's too much fuckery, man. It's like we're addicted to that shit here.
No, that is a long-term problem. I think, in terms of, like, you look back on somebody's career and you start to realize, you're like, holy shit, how different would Mobb Deep's career have been if they allowed any features?
Yeah.
How different would Rakim's career have been if he liked anyone else?
Yeah.
You know, like, you keep the screw face on so hard, you look back and you're like, man, if I could have gotten these people together, it would have been so special, you know?
Yeah.
That's brutal.
And hopefully Memphis, we're starting to. The people, I mean, it's slow, but it's happening. But I feel like people are starting to see we're stronger together than apart.
Right. Yeah.
And once we figure that out, Memphis is gonna be untouchable. I'm sorry, no disrespecting, no other cities, man. But you got cats like me in Cities, and you got cats like Moneybag, Shiesty, 30. You can't go wrong. It's two sides. It's two different sides.
Right.
Two different sounds.
Right.
But I feel like it's undeniable. You can't deny that shit is ill. You know what I mean?
Right.
So hopefully people begin to see that you can make more money together than apart.
Right.
And make doper art together than apart.
Like how long has Dolph been grinding? You know, like just grinding away. You know, and I feel like those are the people where, I don't know, Memphis has been doing work for years, but people didn't always know about it, and people didn't always know that it was like, it's kind of like Virginia before the Clips. Virginia was doing work before the Clips, but the Clips were making anthems out of where they were from. You know, people were singing along that had never been to Virginia. You know, and that changed shit for people. Like, they were thinking about it, and I feel like that's happening now with Memphis.
See, I think people knew all about Memphis. They just couldn't understand it and wouldn't speak on it.
That's real. That's real.
You know, like, you got these cats glorifying snort and blow,
right,
and saying it happily on a record. No other city was doing that.
Right.
Other cities were talking about selling it. Yeah, we were talking about selling it too, but we were talking about doing it too. You know what I mean? And I know for a lot of the OGs that I was around from different cities, they used to be like, damn, y'all think that shit cool? I can't understand that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
I'm not saying that that's the best thing to do. I'm just saying, like, that's what this city does.
It was new.
It was new how we were coming with it. Then we started flipping the devil shit into it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Making the city making the city seem darker than what people know. So I feel like a lot of people, because you got to think about it, if they didn't know about it, then why are they using it? They knew about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everybody's going back to 036 shit from the 90s. Mm-hmm. They knew about that shit. They just didn't understand it. And now it's hot. Now Memphis is on fire. They want to use it now because, all right, this shit is safe now.
Yeah, in the 90s, we all saw what was happening and how it was growing and evolving. But if you couldn't figure it out, you kind of respected it from afar. Kind of like E40 back in the day. I always knew about E40. Understood him until later on.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how it goes.
I had to dive in. But so to the flow, because it's interesting, the flow is kind of a two-part question. Everyone can hear every word while the meanings are layered. No one can take what you say out of context. When did you hit that place in your writing and your delivery? Because that's two different lanes, right? You've crafted something where it meets perfectly.
Man, I was trained right, man. Like, rest in peace to my Uncle Fathom 9, man. My Uncle Fathom 9, a lot of people used to say that he reminded them of a mixture of Busta Rhymes and Pharaoh Monch.
Wow.
I'm gonna send you some of his shit.
That's insane. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was trained by him. Ooh. So, and then I had this uncle in Chicago named HB Soul. And he was a snapper. Like, he was a Nas, Cool G rap type cat. Now, mind you, I can't dodge Memphis music, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I know all about Memphis music. I know about Pat and Player Fly, my favorite Memphis rappers, A-Ball and MJG, all those cats. But I was trained. A lot of people I feel like don't have the same type of, I just feel like I had great teachers that put me in great positions to have a dope delivery and writing ability, because I was introduced to multiple fucking worlds at a young age.
Right.
So I had the Memphis, I had the New York, I had the Chicago, you know what I'm saying? I had the Cali. I was just introduced. So I was soaking up everybody's shit, all the dope shit, Scarface, Pop, Nas, Cool G, Rakim, fucking LL, to Player Fly, to Scarface, to Pimp C. I got all of this type of shit that I love, man. So it was kind of impossible for me to not be sharp with the delivery and the writing, because that's just how I was trained. I look back and I think some of my shit is whack, but that was me just finding myself. But even then, I thought what I'm thinking now, that I have no choice but to be dope in writing and delivery. Look what the fuck I'm around. It's almost an insult to my teachers and the history that I got to not be that. And this is not being cocky. That's just how I thought, because that's how I was taught. And that's what I was soaking in every day, every fucking day.
No, you had you had the whole world in front of you rather than this kind of
exactly.
Yeah.
Because a lot of peers, man, like they were bumping Gucci Mane and Jeezy. And no doubt, Jeezy, I fuck with Jeezy tough. I like some of Gucci shit too. But while they were bumping that, I was bumping Dipset too. You know what I'm saying? Like I was bumping Hell Rail, like shit like that. I wanted to take a piece from each side and put it into my shit and create something I feel is insane. That's why you're asking me and saying what you're saying right now about the delivery and the writing schemes. I just feel like, shout out to everybody, moms, pops, granddad, everybody who had an impact on my music history and putting me on shit. Shout out to all those cats, because it's because of them that I can do this at a high level. So I hope that answered your question, fam.
No,
that's how I could. Yeah.
I'm glad you were saying like pieces from everybody. It reminded me of like, you remember like Kobe watching footage being like, I took Jerry West jump shot. And training in the summer with Olajuwon. Olajuwon's a center, and you're like, dude, he's working the same post moves over and over again.
Exactly.
For a specific thing, because he wants to be the perfect player.
Exactly. Yeah. That's facts. And that's crazy you use Kobe, man. I fuck with Kobe. I didn't know that though. I didn't know he trained with him.
He did. So it was like when he got older. It makes
a lot of sense.
It was when he got older and he was like, I can't just fly to the hoop and dunk on people anymore. So he pulled in with Olajuwon and started working post moves. Yeah.
So he understands, to be dope at some shit, you really got to study.
Right.
I fucking study everybody, bro. I used to print out fucking I used to print out every rapper that I loved lyrics from the library in South Memphis. I would walk, print them out, punch hole them, and put them in a fucking binder, just reading them bitches like books.
Yeah.
Different cadences, like how they spell their words, and like I used to study all of that shit. How many times is Nas gonna rhyme with crime? You know what I'm saying? How many times is Coogee Rap gonna rhyme with hello? You know what I'm saying? Like how many times is Project Pat gonna take his slang down and come back up? I'm a fucking student. I'm a real student of this shit. I really love this shit.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, all the time on our weekly music thing, I end up saying to my co-host, like, this is a rapper you can read, and there's a difference. There are some rappers that you love so much you can read, and it's exciting to read them.
Yeah.
You get the song.
That's why I was so fucking happy when Apple brought the damn lyrics thing to the goddamn Apple Music.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because now I don't have to go type in Nas halftime lyrics. Right. It's right there. Right. It's right there now.
Yeah.
And I love reading the lyrics because it takes you into the world. It's almost like you become them reading it, because you seeing how they put it down. Like that's why I bought the Tupac book, because they had a lot of examples of the Eminem book. They had a lot of examples of how they used to write, like Eminem used to write in napkins and then on tiles and shit like that. And then later on come back and piece every fucking thing together. That's how he used to write. You know what I'm saying? Pac used to do some crazy shit like that. So I'm just a student, man. I want to see how a person writes. I want to see all of that shit, man. I literally took my time and learned everything I could before I jumped in the water.
But that's what's so fascinating about it is that by doing all this work and Frankenstein monstering your shit together, it hasn't become more complicated. As you've evolved, it's become more striking and more visceral and more understandable. And it's interesting because there's an all-timeness to that, where there's like, the goal of this is to move the crowd, right? It's to move the crowd, the whole crowd, not just a part of the crowd that knows this reference, the whole crowd. And you've gotten yourself to that point, and it's why your album has kept climbing over these very conceptual, very dense albums, because I just keep sneaking back to it. I'm just like, oh, man, I need to put on more black
Thank you, man. Yeah, man. I put a lot into that project, man. It was a lot of love, hate, anger, sadness, all of that shit in that.
Right.
So I'm glad that it did something for you, for it to constantly come up. So I appreciate you, fam.
Yeah, man. I mean, and the flow continues on the song with Boldy James. I was very excited to hear Stigmata and to hear you and Boldy James coming together. Did you do that beat? Who did that beat?
No, shout out to the homie Walls, man, from Rhode Island.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Conflict. Did you do Conflict, or
He did Conflict too. Yep.
So, but yeah, I was listening. I was like, man, Boldy goes in, then you come in, and I'm like, this dude rapped to the last second of the song. Like, that is old school.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the Cities, man. Like, I was coming back from LA from a little fucked up situation, man, and I was feeling down about shit, and Gavin was like, man, fuck all that whack shit anyway. Let's do an album. I was like, cool. So by this time, like, this circles back around to the beginning of our conversation about the formula.
Right.
You know what I mean? So around this time, I was sticking to a specific formula. So I was doing 16 bars, hook, 16 bars, hook. You know what I mean? I was doing that shit. And I remember when I started writing, I said some shit to Gavin. And Gavin was like, nah, man, fuck a hook, man. Just bar out. Awesome. I'm like, what? So I was like, cool. So then I took it a step further, because me and Gavin shit is totally different. Like, he don't have to do, just our shit is just totally different. How he controls the crowd is how he controls the crowd. I could never do what Gavin does and control the crowd. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, I took it a step further, bro. I was just like, okay, all right. So I gotta really I gotta pick certain beats that I feel that people wouldn't mind looping continuously and not get bored. That was my first thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm real picky on loops. Like, they really have to hit a certain type of pocket. And I feel like, I don't know if you can hear that with Chicken Wire and When the Black Hand Touches You. Yep. I'm very specific about my loops. So then I'm like, all right, cool. I got the loops down. I know what I'm gonna do with that. And then comes, all right, I got to be able to keep people's attention without a fucking hook. You know what I mean? Yep. So then goes back to the other part of the conversation about the writing and the delivery. I start rebuilding myself, bro. Start remembering everything I learned and everything I went through personally. And I was like, okay, here it is. I just need to let all this shit go. This is almost like therapy. I need to release.
Right.
So that became the formula, is to not have a fucking formula, just let it go. It'll start creating that formula itself, man. And I don't know, man. The process of that shit was crazy, man. Shout out to Cities. He's the reason why I can rap. Well, he gave me the idea to keep going, bro. Don't have no limit.
Just knock all the walls down and just do it.
Yeah. He was just like, fuck it, bro. Just let it go. Cause I get people now that be like, bro, how the fuck you just stand up there and don't have no hook and you just be rapping? I said, bro, I don't know, bro. I just fucking love doing this shit. And I feel like I've mastered how to keep a person's attention with the delivery and the writing now.
Right.
You know what I mean? How I say certain shit, how I flip the words, the syllables, and all of that shit. Just like conflict is super different. The delivery is super different from stigmata.
Right. And for people who aren't heavily versed in Cities Aviv, my summation would be he doesn't do conventional hooks either, but what he does is something like what a poet does, where he takes the line and he'll repeat it, but it's different. It changes as he repeats it. The emotion behind it changes, the meaning behind it changes and evolves as he is performing it. It's a very tricky thing to do.
Facts. That's facts. What you just said was facts. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what he does.
So yeah, about the flow and getting that kind of one continuous song that becomes like a story, like you kind of written a novel, right? Like, do you take these songs in long takes? Do you punch in? I only ask this because your flow has a real athleticism to it. Think about Maroon Floors. The breath control is just mad underrated as a requirement to rap.
I want to take that song. I do. I want to take the Maroon Floors. There are times where I do punch in, and that's just because that's funny you brought this up. Me and my engineer was shout out to Hollow. I used to tell him, I used to be like, bro, I used to go in and just be like, I'm gonna fucking one take this. I should be able to one take this. I'm that ill.
Right.
And I go back and listen, I'd be like, damn, I want to take that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I can hear some fuck ups. Yep. But I was just trying to like one take it. So now I'm in the process of like, all right, if I fuck up, I'm about to go back because now I have to give it to you differently now.
Yep.
So like, if I can't do it on the first try, cool. And I have done some of them on the first try, and then I go back and be like, it don't sound right. I'm gonna have to punch in, bro. So I don't mind punching in now. So like sometimes like I'll catch it on that first take, and if not, it becomes a puzzle. So yeah.
No, I mean it's very similar. One of my favorite rappers in the world, Curly Castro, out of Philly, Wrecking Crew. He was like religious about the kind of no punch ins, won't take, and over time he's loosened up and been able to evolve with that. But the skill still remains, right? Like you still have that the want to one take it, right? Which some rappers don't even have, right? Some rappers are punching in, from the get go. So breath control is a really underrated thing. We were weird story. I was at a show to see one of my favorite local rappers with the co-founder of my website, and he said, "This guy." We were seeing the guy performing, and we're like, "This is good," and he goes, "Yeah, guy's good. He just needs to work on his breath control." And right as he said that, the dude let out the grossest gulp in the middle of his flow. I'm just like, oh, and we're like, oh, brutal.
Yeah, no doubt, man. The COVID, this whole pandemic shit, I feel like fucked up my breathing, especially wearing those masks. So I just had a show. What was that? Friday night. Me and Cities Aviv, Blue Levies, 2030, a whole bunch of DJs. We just had a shout out to all those. It was a successful show, but I got breath control still. My situation where people be like, man, you need to work on your breath. And I'm like, bro, it's not my breath. It's I feel I'm yelling because I want to be heard.
Right.
Which is causing me to lose my fucking voice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm having to stop, get my voice back. This comes from sound system issues. You know, like where you can't really hear yourself or know if the crowd can fucking hear you. So you yelling, trying to compete with the beat and the ambience of the crowd and shit like that. So as far as breath control on stage, like if the sound system is perfect, I'm with it. Cause I can be in my bag. I don't have to strain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but now breath control is super fucking important, especially for live performances. That's very, very important because you want the people to follow you. You don't want to look tired.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want to sound tired. You want to sound like you can go forever. And that's just how I was taught. Shout out to Fathom out of HB Soul. They get your breath down, man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
The best comparison for like what happens when breath control goes wrong is like picture a boxer with like so many knockouts. Just awesome. Problem is they've never been deep in a fight. And now it's round 9.
I think that happened to Tyson.
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
it did.
Yeah, facts.
And you get gassed, and you see it over and over again, where like the big knockout puncher meets the granite chin, and it's tough in round 11. You know. Yeah.
Facts. Now, yeah, that's a super example. I think that happened with Tyson and Lennox Lewis. I think that happened in that fight too. Tyson so used to knocking motherfuckers out. He ain't used to a motherfucker. They gonna dance with him for about 7, 8 rounds. So yeah, man, breath control is serious, man. Shout out.
The story is that really that kind of starts with Holyfield. That like Holyfield was the first guy who didn't give a fuck about Tyson at all. Like,
yeah,
he just didn't care. Like, there's a story that like he was playing pool in a pool hall or whatever, and Tyson kind of came in the pool hall. Everybody was like, "Oh!" And he came up to the table and said it with him. And he's like, "Yeah, get the fuck out of here!" Like, he didn't care.
Shout out to Holyfield. No fear. He bleed like I bleed.
Yeah, that's how the fight went too.
Yeah.
When you've got a headbutt as good as Holyfield, you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah. Facts.
So this is an interesting point because you talked about the loops and how you're picky with loops. And that's an interesting, we've talked about the flow, we talked about the writing and how that's developed over time. But the producer end of you produced 9 songs on Black Hand, Cities did 5. On Chicken Wire, Cities did 10, you did 5. What goes into that change, that shift?
I just, man, shout out to Cities, man. I'm going to tell you some shit. Gavin likes to fuck with me, bro. Like, he likes to send me the shit he wants to rap off of, but be trying to get me to rap off of it. So it'll take me a minute before I get to those fucking loops you hear from Gavin, because he fucking when he's sending me shit that he know I ain't gonna rap on, but that's him just trying to test me. So it shifted because I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna be fucking with Gavin. I'm like, all right, I'm back producing, because I was producing a lot of my shit before Chicken Wire.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was producing a lot of that shit under a multitude of different names. But anyway, so that when I went into When the Black Hand Touches You, I kind of knew how I wanted to sound, and the beats that I wanted from Gavin, I needed him to match me instead of me matching him. So Chicken Wire was kind of his sound. And I was like, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I can match what we doing right here. And then it's vice versa on When the Black Hand Touches You. I'm like, okay, this is how I want this to sound now. Follow me. So, you know what I mean?
Did you feel like producer Lukah and rapper Lukah were now growing at the same speed, and you wanted to kind of just have it be more of one thing?
You broke up at the beginning.
Sorry.
Say that one more time.
Did you feel like it was producer Lukah and rapper Lukah growing at the same speed, and kind of at that point, like, now this is one thing?
To be honest, even though I take a lot of time and put a lot of love into the producing, it'll never be like the rapping aspect.
Right.
So to end, like, I feel like, yeah, the producer was growing, but I was more focused on the writing aspect anyway, so that was going to outgrow the producing anyway. I'm writer first, producer second.
Okay.
So they were growing. One was just growing faster. So yeah,
that makes sense. So that, like, producer Lukah was working for writer Lukah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, that's perfect. That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
That makes sense. And writer Lukah took total control on Black Hand to make sure it was a thorough experience. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I was telling Gavin, I was telling my cousin Colin, and just a lot of people who like to talk about When the Black Hand. I look at it as, I'm taking these loops, but I'm also becoming the instrument. I'm the lead guitar, I'm the lead saxophone and jazz, you know what I mean? Things like that. So I picked certain beats that were so in a certain pocket where I couldn't do nothing but be the lead instrument. I feel like on Chicken Wire, because of how crazy some of the beats were, I kind of had to not battle with the tempo or how the lows or highs or anything like that. It was just almost like, okay, goddamn, I didn't produce these. I'm not leading this. This was Gavin curated that whole project.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, all right, cool. I'm fucking with these beats, but this might already have a lead instrument on it. So I got to kind of sit back in the pocket and just play with it a little bit. When the Black Hand Touches You come around, I'm like, all right, this is the feel I'm going for. I'm going to pick these background vocals and I'm going to become the lead singer on these motherfuckers. That's kind of how I was approaching it.
That's awesome.
So, and I feel like without me even having to tell Gavin what I was going after, that's why he sent shit like he went fed.
Right.
Because even though somebody could argue and say, no, there's a lead on there, but I'm like, yeah, but you kind of forget about that lead when I start writing, when I start rapping.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So Gavin did a fire job complimenting what I was doing. So, and that's how we always work, man. Like, and we do it without saying it. It just happens. Like, we have a 4-piece, the outro. We performed it the other night on my new project. We have a 4-piece where we're flipping over 4 beats for 9 minutes. And it's just me and him going back and forth. And it's the outro of the new project I'm about to release. But we wrote separately. We sat down to pick the beats, but we wrote separately. And when we came together again, like I said, it just formed Voltron without even having to rehearse it or say, like, bro, this is what I'm gonna talk about. All right, this is what I'm gonna talk about. No, fuck that. You come how you gonna come, I'm gonna come how I'm gonna come, and it's gonna gel together anyway.
That's awesome.
Because that's how we work.
And it's special people. It's special people who can give you advice, not how to be them, but how to be better at being you.
Yeah, facts.
That's kind of what he did for you when he said to throw away the hook, right? To be able to.
Yeah.
He's thinking as you need that space. Just take it.
Yeah. Nah,
And,
damn, yo, nah, that's him for real.
yep.
That's all he was saying. He was just like, bro, just bar out, bro. Basically, without even saying, he was like, bro, you can keep their fucking attention without a hook.
Right.
So yeah, that's facts. That's facts.
Most people see from their perspective, and if they give you advice, it's how to become them. And if
Yeah,
you feel special when you can hear and be like, you need to go this way, even though I'm going this way.
yeah,
That's fact excellent.
yeah,
So
facts. That's him.
all that. So we're talking about this is interesting. This may be my most interesting question here. Above now that you have your biggest audience, you have new diehard fans, you have more choices than you've ever had, right? How do you decide where to put yourself?
I'm just doing what I feel, man. I feel I mean that's what happened with the last two albums. I just did what I felt. Wherever my thumb and my ear takes me, that's where I'm gonna go. And I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna give it to the people the same way I've been giving it to them. You know what I'm saying? Like I like to pride myself on being able to remain. I'm either gonna go up or I'm not gonna lose breath.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like so I'm either gonna rise or I'm gonna stay where I am.
Mm-hmm.
But my goal, 90% of the time, is to rise. That's why Stigmata and Conflict sounds different from both albums.
Totally. Yeah.
And I feel like it's in the pocket where people are like, they get it. They still get it. I don't know. What do you think?
No, the reason you have these new diehard fans. It's not just that you released an album everybody likes. It's that there's something fully formed about the personality of you on that album. It's if you press play on that and you go through the whole journey, you know who Lukah is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's special about rap music, right? There's so many words that you really get to know these individuals. We all feel like we know Kendrick or, Q-Tip or whoever.
Yeah.
And you did that where your personality really does lead that album. And we feel like we know Lukah now.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about the next album, right? Like that's the cool part. There's some people I'm worried about the next album. I have no idea what it's going to be. I know Lukah's going to be Lukah.
And that I just do what I feel, man. And I'm going to present it in a way where I feel like a person, I like to give people what they don't think they need.
Right.
So I'm going to present it. I'm going to present it in a way where I feel like you cannot deny it. You can love trap, but you're going to love this album too. And I feel like I've accomplished that because I have a lot of trap fans who even ask themselves like, damn, why do I like this shit? Because I mean, it's just different beats. I'm talking about the same shit, just using more words. You know what I'm saying? I'm just doing it my way. I'm giving it to you how I would sit down and talk to my son. You know, I'm giving it to you how I would talk to one of my homies or something like that.
Right.
So it's still things people can relate to. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what makes it special too, because even though that my flow is different and the beat select is different, you can't do nothing but relate. I feel like there's certain things you cannot deny, and you can't deny that Kendrick's a fucking genius.
No.
You can't deny Cities Aviv. You know what I mean?
Right.
Regardless of what the fuck you may think, that dude's a genius.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could say it's just certain shit. A lot of people were disgusted at damn, but then they fell in love with it. It's like, how the fuck are you fucking disgusted at damn? Like, he gave it to you in a way where you can't deny that shit. It's a fucking genius album.
I will tell you.
So
when Damn came out, I actually had my own philosophy podcast. I had this for 2 years. And we did an episode on the philosophy of Damn. There were the religious references, the kind of Jewish foundation in it. We pulled it all apart. It was magnificent. It was so fun. There were so many layers to it.
That's a whole bunch of layers.
That you could just pull it apart and keep pulling. Yeah.
That's what I was telling them, because they were like, To Pimp a Butterfly has so many layers. I'm like, bro, Damn got a million fucking layers too, bro.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And people slowly but surely started seeing it. And I'm just like, I'm just sitting back looking like, told you niggas. Like, you can't deny that shit. No. It's just certain, just like regardless of how wordy people may say Nas is, when fucking Illmatic dropped, you couldn't do nothing but be like, oh, what the fuck? And I wasn't even born. Well, I maybe was. What year did they come out? Illmatic?
Illmatic 94, right?
So I was 3. You know what I mean? That shit was probably being played while I was still on a bottle or some shit. But me growing up, going back, hearing people's reactions, and I fell in love with that. That's my favorite rapper. So it's just like, you can't deny this fucking guy, bro. It's impossible to deny him. Right. You can't. If you do that, I know people have their own taste, but you can't say anything bad about this guy. You don't have to like the shit. You can't deny it though. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I approach all my projects. I try to come with that attitude, like, I'm finna give you something you cannot deny. It might not be your thing, but after you get done listening to it, you're not gonna be able to ever say nothing fucked up about it. It might not be your thing, but you can't deny it though. And that's how I've always approached my music. It's just I'm in a different space now. I kind of got a chip on my shoulder. So I mean, that's what Conflict was about. Right. You know what I'm saying? So things like that. And I'm after blood right now. That's why Chicken Wire and When the Black Hand Touches You came out the way they did. And so I'm gonna just continue to do, like you said, be Lukah. You know, just like Kendrick, he was just Kendrick.
I was so excited that like the first major feature post was Boldy James, because Boldy James doesn't like to rap. He needs to rap. Like he's
I feel that
really getting that shit off his chest, and his verses are so detailed.
Facts.
This is for somebody, and that somebody knows who this is.
You can't deny that shit. He's a guy you can't deny.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So
you can't turn away.
He's good at not wanting to rap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's fire at that shit. You can't deny, bro.
He needs to be in the booth. He needs to get this out of himself.
Yeah.
And he's always rapping, and so it felt like two people who are in that, like this is the kinship we have, right? We need to be doing this. And there are other people who are doing it as a hustle. There are other people who are doing it on the side, who are doing it for the hooks or the ad libs. You know what I mean? And no hate to anybody, right? Rap needs to go in all these different directions. I got some arguments about little Nas X not being a rapper, but being a pop star. And like, people need to accept that there are, I don't know how nice to say this, that there are Black people who aren't rappers, that they make music and they're just pop stars. It's okay. Even if they do sometimes, Blondie rap sometimes, it's okay. You know, we need to be able to just let people live in their own space with that when they're just making pop music.
That's facts. But I get that when that shit, like, bro, I need to rap. Yes, for sure, there's me. I feel like that's why I was put here. I feel like That's why Bodie was put here. I feel like that's why Conway was put here.
Yep.
Nas, Freddie Gibbs, all these cats, Kendrick, J. Cole, yeah, you know what I'm saying? We can go back to the greats, the Jay-Z's, man. These guys were fucking put here to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's why.
I can't remember which Tupac documentary it was, but there was a Tupac documentary where he was just like, they showed him and his friends, and he was just rapping everywhere he went. Like, rapping crossing the street, rapping, just everywhere he went. Yeah.
Hell yeah, that was me, man. I'll be freestyling. Look, man, I'll be freestyling and not saying no fucking words. I'll just be trying to get a cadence and flow down. Like, man, I went through a phase, shit, man, because I forgot who put me on Bone Thugs and Crucial Conflict at the time. I went through a phase trying to rap fast, but the only thing a nigga was saying was nigga. So that's the only thing you can understand coming out of my mouth. You know what I mean? But I was always writing and rapping, man. I was just rapping when the schools were talking about we had to do a poetry and reading class. I'm like, easy. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I was already ready and done in minutes, and it was a rap. You know what I mean? Some of the cats that's out now, like shout out to J90. That's that's Black Youngsters artist. He just signed. But that nigga used to beat on the table for me in the lunchroom, rapping.
Awesome. That's
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yes. So, shit like that.
That's funny. There was a creative writing class. The closest memory I had to this, I went to school late. I went to the Army and then went to college. So I was old and grizzled and like worn out. And I was in this creative writing class, and this dude like laid out the basic storytelling, right? Rising action, apex, falling action,
Yeah.
And he's like, write a 10-page story that follows this guideline over the break. And so it comes back from the break. Everybody's got like a Scooby-Doo adventure and shit. It's just like,
yeah.
Here's the characters. Here's the wacky adventure. We resolved it. And over the break, I was like, fuck this dude. Fuck his bullshit. What I'm going to do, I'm going to eat a bunch of turkey. I'm going to hang out with my family. I'm going to go downstairs afterward, and I'm going to write 10 pages about me sitting around with my boys drinking in the Army. And we don't leave the room.
Facts. But it's a lot of shit that goes on.
We just sit in a circle. That dude from Utah, that dude from Texas, and we drink until we're sad, because we're in Korea and we ain't got our family here, that's all it is.
Real shit.
And I did that, and I handed it, and he was like, this is amazing. You guys should have done this. I'm like, I did this by ignoring what the fuck you said.
Facts. Yeah. Hell yeah. No formula, goddammit.
Right.
It goes back to the formula conversation. Facts, man.
If you're good at
that's
that
the
shit,
dopest art.
Yeah.
Exactly, man. That's the dope art.
Yep. So that's interesting. And you were in a space where the only thing is when your looks blow up like this, you now have more choices than ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have choices as to who you can produce your stuff with, who you can bring on a song or get on a song, and those choices can be good, they can be bad, they can be strange, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can get an email saying for you to jump on a Selena Gomez remix, and you have to sit there like, is that me? Do I do that? Or what do I?
No.
Yeah. So it's hard. Some of that stuff, maintaining who you are in that space is hard.
I like to tell people, man, if it makes sense, I'm gonna do it. So as long as it's fly shit and it makes sense, Lukah will do it. I fucking do it. I do a song with anybody as long as it's fucking fly and I can rock on it how I want to rock on it. You know what I mean? I just want to make art, fly art. I don't want to leave this earth and regret a song. So if I feel like I'm gonna regret that song or it's not something I'm interested in, I'm just not gonna do the shit. I don't care about the rules about you can't work with this person, you can't. Fuck all that. I'm a grown man. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna work and do whatever I want to do regardless. So, that's crazy you brought that up. I know some people that go through that type of shit. You can't work with certain people because you with this and you do that. And I'm just like, man, look, art is supposed to be free.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's free fucking art, bro. Like, if you feel like you can make some fly art over here with this person, why not? Try it.
And you remember when like Jadakiss was doing like every pop remix and just killing verses?
You said Jadakiss?
Jadakiss, yeah. He would
Hell
show
yeah,
up
facts.
J-Lo shit and he would just like murder. Yeah. You'd be like,
exactly.
You murdered that shit. I don't know what you can be mad if you want, but
Busta Rhymes.
That mic is still hot right now, you know?
Fucking Busta Rhymes did. He was on everybody's shit and featuring everybody. Ludacris did it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's a cast. Yep. Fucking Andre does it. He'll hop on Walk It Out remix, like, and bar that bitch up. Mm-hmm. He didn't lose himself.
Right.
That's the important thing. Neither one of the cats that we just mentioned, they don't lose themselves. That's because they need to be doing this. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like they think how I think. Well, I like to think they think how I think. I don't want to leave this earth and be able to say I regretted doing that song. I want my catalog. I know people say everything's not, I mean, there's no such thing as perfect, but I want my shit to be as flawless as possible.
Yeah, no, it's like, if I could put a subheading on this episode, it would be protect your voice, right? Like, you spent so much time building your voice and now you protect your voice. And that's what it is. You know, people who were technically good, but they had no voice.
Yeah.
Right. There was no authorship. There was no like perspective in the voice.
Yeah. Facts.
And so you can't really teach it, you know, like, was it like Nipsey Hussle? He wasn't always technically sound, but the voice was always there. So he grew with the technicals around the voice.
Yeah,
became what he was.
The Marathon album, and I'm not just saying this shit because he passed.
Right.
Like, I was listening to him when I was in LA. I lived in LA for a year. So I was like, damn, this dude has a unorthodox ass flow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no technique to it at all. But as, like you said, as he grew, that Marathon album says it all, where he was about to go.
Yeah.
He found that fucking technique, and he started protecting his fucking voice, because now that shit means something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And if you have it, other people don't. And you have something people don't have. Straight up.
Straight there, man. Thank you, fam. My uncle said that to me all the time. My uncle, HB, he's like, he talks about my voice all the time. A lot of people talk about my voice. I'm grateful to have this fucking voice, man. So shit, I'm gonna keep putting out the fly art with it, man.
Keep doing it. Last question, and this is some good nerdy shit right here. How do you think expected song length has changed the way track sequencing works?
How do I think it's impacted the game?
So, like, as an example, you see a lot of like 1 minute, 2 minute tracks now. You didn't see a lot of that back in the day. Back in the day, there was a lot of like third verses, you know, and those have gotten lobbed off. There's 2 minute songs.
I'm indifferent, man. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I hate when the goddamn song too short, because I like, you know what I'm saying, long songs. That's what I come from. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like people's attention span has gotten a lot shorter. People are don't have the patience to sit, or don't want to sit and digest a 3-verse song. Right. I mean, I see it on Facebook all the time, man. People arguing about this dude and did 3 verses. I'm just like, shit. Obviously, he dope at writing. That's how I feel. And then
right.
your whole album got 3 verses. Oh man, you ill. You ill as hell. That means you ain't gonna. I feel like Nas used to do this shit, man, and he never ran out of things to say. I feel like some people may run out of things to say, man, so they shorten shit. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
They gotta save it for the next. They gotta say this for the next, because there's a lot of people saying, man, why you make 15 song albums? I'm like, I don't give a damn, bro. The next album gonna be 15 songs too, and I'm gonna be saying some different shit. I love this shit that much that I'm gonna continue to stay sharp with my sword, man. If I have to read to find more words, I'm gonna do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how much I love the art. That's how much I take it serious. I don't want to sound the fucking same on every project. So I mean, it's a test for me too. It's a self-test. Like, bro, can you do 15 songs and still have something to say? Are you gonna push yourself to continue to protect your voice and be this passionate? It's almost like a test, and I don't like failing. I hate that shit. So it's almost like I hell no. I don't know how to fail in this rap shit. So I'm like I said, man, I don't give a fuck what they say and what's the new norm, 2 minutes. I'm gonna spit 37, 39 bars, 38 bars on the fucking song for 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes. And you're not gonna be able to deny it. So you're gonna be sitting there enjoying it, like, you know what I mean? So
no,
man. I don't mean to sound cocky and nothing like that. I love this too much. I cannot fail at this. You know what I mean? This is one of those things where I wouldn't know how to live with myself if I failed at it.
Right. No, it's so, part of the strength, I think, of When the Black Hand Touches You is that 16 tracks, the shortest one is 1 minute and 59 seconds. And it's definitely...
Which track is that?
That's Maroon Floors. Maroon Floors.
Mm-hmm. And you know why it's short? Because fucking Gavin sent it like that. And like, he makes his beats where he can't go back to them. It is what it is. So I'm like, shit. All right, say less. I gotta use it,
right?
Because
right.
You know what I mean. So, but yeah, that's how that. Yeah.
But it flows really well, right? Because 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. I think there's a song that's almost 5 minutes, but they're the different lengths. They're different song lengths, different chunks of the story that you're getting. And it feeds into one another. So you're getting the full story, but you are getting it in these chapters.
Yeah.
And I think it worked for you in this case. The expectation of shorter songs, right? Because they saw these song lengths like, 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Okay. You know, and they thought they could bop through it, and then they just got sucked in, right?
Yeah.
And it felt like an old school rap album, but in a lot of ways, the sequencing is very right now.
Yeah, facts. Shout out to Hollow. That's the goal. I don't think that's the say it loud goal, but it's a goal. It's always gonna be a goal. You want to keep that essence. Like, I love that fucking essence. I love the old essence, man. I feel like that when that essence was created, it was a blueprint that could never fail.
Right.
And that's one of those things. That's a tower no fucking type of plane can crash and burn. You know what I mean? So like, I'ma always keep that essence, and that's why me and Hollow are the way we are. Shout out to him again, is because he knows what the sound is like today. When I don't give a fuck about sound, he be talking to me about sound and EQs and shit. I just be like, bro, talk English to me, bro. You know, right. You know what I'm saying? So like, he's dope with making it sound right now. You know what I mean? And it fucking complements the essence I'm bringing, which makes it something it makes it its own entity because Hollow and myself, we collided and formed something. Mm-hmm. So yeah, shout out to that brother, man.
That's a good lesson for people. Like, if people are watching this, like, the people you love that kind of come out of nowhere, they all have an incredible team.
Yeah.
You know?
Shout out to my entire team. Thanks.
I don't think they're like accidental classic albums or whatever. They come out of a great team of people who are really sharp and really set each other off in meaningful ways.
Yeah. It's how me and Hollow met, man, was I was opening up for Scarface and I met his sensei Ari, but I met him years ago because I still had his fucking number in my phone when we was exchanging numbers again or whatever. But Ari does all Moneybag Yo shit. He did Dolph shit, Glock shit. You know what I mean? I think he's doing some Gotti shit. I don't know. But like, yeah, that's who Hollow studies under. So like I remember playing When the Black Hand Touch You. It was already done. I remember playing them. And Ari, being an engineer, he was like, "Is it done being mixed?" I knew when I was asked that question, I'm like, because I'm like, yeah, it's done. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I could remember seeing Hollow looking like, nah, this can't be done. And I called him. I said, bro, I think it was the next night because I was just sitting back listening to it. Because mind you, it wasn't until I met Hollow that I don't give a fuck about how it sounds. I just want to put it out. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I mean, they can hear me. That's all I give a damn about. You know what I'm saying? And so I called Hollow, bro. I was like, yo, I said, nigga, you think this fucking album can sound better, bro? He was like, oh my God, yes. I said, you want to touch it? He was like, yes, please let me touch it. So I went to the studio I was in, got all the files, man, sent it to him, and voila. And then, shout out to him. Yeah, he made it. I feel like he took it to another place. And I'm glad me and him are like this now. And like when you hear this new project, if you can hear the examples on the new ones, it's kind of like hitting hard now.
Yep.
And look who he studied under. He known for making shit hit hard. Right. So you know what I mean? So Hollow.
It's kind of like I'm a picky eater, but my wife is really dope at cooking. So she'll be like, would you try this? And I'm like, if you make it, I'm in. Like, I believe in you. So
facts.
That's kind of that, right? Like where you're just like,
facts.
All right, man, you take this away. I believe in you.
Yep. That's when we made this the new project, man. I was like, bro, my job done, bro. I want you to do what you gotta do and make sure that shit sound fly. That's what I always tell my team. I'm like, man, y'all know me, bro. Mm-hmm. If it's not fly, I'm not gonna do it. Just make sure it's some fly shit, bro. Even my film team. Shout out to my homie / director Josh and the whole, you know what I'm saying, 143 team. Shout out to Nate, Sam, Barry, all those cats. Like you said, like in the Shutters video, I had the fucking coins on my eyes. Yep. I'm sure when Josh asked me what I do, and I'm like, man, that shit don't sound fly. I mean, I know where it comes from, but that shit don't sound fly. But I trust them. So I'm like, all right, let's try it. And it came out fly. And I just feel like when you got all those people around you who know you and at the same time want you to step out your comfort zone.
Right.
I think that's when the dopest art is created. So shout out to my entire team, man. Ish, Rossalino, Gavin, man, Kylan. You know what I'm saying? The whole 143 squad. Shout out to the whole team, man, because we building something I feel like is going to leave a mark eventually.
Absolutely. And if you are dope, but your shit is not there, look to complete your team. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
might have somebody missing from your team, and that might be what's going on. So yeah, always be assessing the team.
Thanks.
Cold with the art. They call him Lukah Da Vinci. Thank you so much for being here.
Appreciate that, family.
I had so much fun talking to you. Put it on record here. Anything you think is fucking great from Memphis, send it. Send
this.
I'm with it.
Easy.
I would love people to just do that from any angle of the country. Anywhere, you think that shit is dope British rap, send it. Fucking whatever. I'll figure it.
No, I got you. It's a lot of dope shit that's not being seen here. I'll put you on game for sure.
Love it.
Hell yeah, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You will definitely. I'll send you when we do our. We got our mid-year show coming up. Where I'm gonna give my album of the year so far list, and I'll shoot that link over, man. It's gonna be competitive.
Say less, man. Hell yeah.
Grand City's doing it.
Kendrick ain't even dropped yet, man.
I love that shit. I think the basic theme of the year is that the pop space is kind of boring. There isn't a lot going on in the pop space. But the underground space has been super creative and super weird.
Yeah. And everybody's different, man. Everybody's fucking different. Yeah, man. Like the underground here is different from Buffalo's underground.
100%. And everybody's totally finding the best of their own shit or experimenting, throwing weird shit together. It's a bunch of experiments, and I love that shit. I think it's beautiful.
Man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be exciting.
I'm gonna send you a link to the new project, man.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
100%.
I send that to you. It's not. It'll be out late summer, early fall, but I'll let you jam to it, man.
And
I fuck with you.
It's worth it to send me projects ahead of time because I give articulate feedback on what I like.
Hell yeah.
So
hell yeah.
Thank you for stopping by. Keep me abreast of anything. I appreciate it. Follow Cities Aviv, Bandcamp, Twitter, Lukah,
IG.
Yep.
Big Lukah on everything, man.
Yeah. So, follow Lukah. Yeah.
I appreciate y'all for having me, family. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you.
Salute.